and together with Friends of the Earth Scotland, we recently released a report called Our Power, which is a set of 10 demands for a just energy transition that were created by offshore workers. We think that it's definitely a UK first, and it's maybe a world first, of an actually comprehensive plan to transition energy workers in a way that is fair and doesn't decimate their jobs and their communities. The results of this consultation were demands that are more radical, more far-reaching and more ambitious than anything government or industry or any political party are proposing at the moment. And this work was supported by RMT, Unite Scotland, PCS and Unison Scotland. So what were the demands? They covered pretty much everything to do with a transition, and they were split into 3 categories. So our transition, so that's looking at immediate barriers that workers are facing to move into renewables. So there are no pathways to get into those jobs. Often there aren't jobs, and they're being taken advantage of by training regimes that force them to pay for their own training. They also had demands around their rights and how we can make sure that jobs in renewables don't follow the same pattern as jobs in oil and gas, and make sure that they're secure, well paid and safe. So they touch on a lot of the things that have already been mentioned today, so strengthening unions and their rights for striking and collective bargaining, universal rights and the issues of below minimum wage payments for migrant workers, and the fact that there's no access to proper health and safety or whistleblowing procedures when you work offshore. And finally, they went further than we expected with radical demands for public ownership of energy and a tax system that actually works for the public. So what does it mean? The UK isn't a stranger to failed energy transitions. And the fact is that the North Sea was actually purposely built on ununionised labour to avoid the resistance and undermine the resistance that came through the closure of coal mines. We don't have a plan for this transition, and we're looking at repeating the mistakes that have already been made. And time and again, we hear from industry and we hear from government that calls from the climate movement to stop Rosebank, stop Cambo, shut down the North Sea are tantamount to us wanting workers to lose their jobs and not caring about those communities. But that isn't true, and we're trying to take on the industries that are exploiting those communities and exploiting those workers in ways that are significantly worse than what we're asking for. And a key part of breaking the social license of oil and gas is pulling apart this narrative that the industry is the workers and the workers are the industry, and end the historical pitting against each other of climate and labour. When we started engaging with workers, we did have to reckon with the fact that at times the climate movement has been guilty of lazy messaging that does undermine and alienate workers in high carbon industries. And we did find it difficult at times to get across that we were here to try and help and not just to try and take away jobs. And workers found it difficult to talk to us about their anxieties about an industry that they work in and that they know has to go. But over time, some of the most reluctant workers also became the biggest advocates for the work, seeing that the desire to phase out fossil fuels isn't something that has to be a negative for them if we actually listen to them and we make sure that workers are front and centre in creating that transition. We shouldn't be letting industry bosses and out-of-touch politicians make decisions for workers that they don't care about or understand. And as we stand here today, 1,300 offshore workers are preparing to strike on Monday, and they'll be bringing a number of platforms in the North Sea to a complete standstill. It's essential that as climate activists, as climate campaigners, as people that care about the climate, we stand with those workers and we support them in their fight for better terms and conditions, for fair pay, for secure work. We need to look at this work, look at how these workers have engaged, how the unions have engaged with this work, and apply it to other industries that are hard to phase out. Talk about aviation, other transport industries, other high carbon industries, because this work can be done, and it is hard, but it's on us to make sure that we work with the labour movement in every way that we can to phase out fossil fuels and to build the future that we want. Thank you.